Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2. From IEM Katowice 2020, I'll bring you a Protoss versus Protoss. A pretty nice matchup, especially depending on who's involved. Reliant on creative strategies, where a macro game is a cheese and a cheese is a macro game, where tech trees are just a suggestion, and building more than 20 probes is a elusive goal. In the top left of Nightshade. Nice. And in the bottom right, it's Hurricane. Now, just statistically, unlike the other mirror matchups, it's very difficult to be consistent in Protoss versus Protoss. There are still players who have more success in the matchup than others, but there are no players that have a dominance over that matchup, kind of like maybe like Cyril in ZVZ, except in a few scenarios, or Innovation in Terran versus Terran. There are just no players who have that reliable Protoss versus Protoss matchup. And that can shake up a whole lot of brackets. So now the very first question is going to be, where do you put your second pylon? Because everybody knows you don't put your second pylon on your base. Oh my god. Did he actually see the probe? The probes did not see each other. So Nice is going to, I'm going to go ahead and say, proxy his second pylon outside of his fourth base rocks, which is a place you can put it. Whereas Hurricane builds his second pylon in his base. So, the absolute madman. He's going to be looking, well, he's scouted his opponent's base. Oh, and now this is, of course, this is not so much a proxy robo as this is kind of a hidden robo. It's a half proxy. It's a proxy light. It's a diet proxy. All right, there we go. I landed on it. We got a diet proxy out of Nice. And Hurricane is now scouting incessantly across the map. Oh, and he spots it! He sees the robo at the diet proxy location. So, now a probe was stopped from getting into the base. Adept's on the way out. The thing is, you can't actually deal with a proxy like that because you don't. If you open up Adepts, you're not going to kill pylons. And they will have stalkers. So, he's just going to build an observer out of the robo. Because, well, now he wants to see what his opponent is doing. I'm very surprised that Hurricane actually found this. This is one of the more creative locations. There's going to be a shield battery on the high ground. There's already a pylon. Is that a pylon? Oh, Jimmy, we said we were professional now. Where are my damaged health bars? Both these players are damaged from having to play PvP, but, so, Nice has just decided he's going to wall off his main. He's just given up on that whole idea. Meanwhile, Hurricane has... He has a Warp Prism, but a little slow on shading the Adepts away from the Stalkers. He'll lose one, almost two, and then he's going to pick up the Adept into the Prism. Both sides getting their Warp Gate finished up. But the Stalkers are just kind of trouncing across the map. They can't really do much with this. There's no prism, so if they walk up the map, there's a shield battery in the main. There's almost, with the shield battery, he can shut down Adept Harass if there happens to be an Oracle, because he doesn't actually know. There is an Observer for high ground vision, but the Immortal Micro, the force fields are a little ambitious. Get some more shields, but the Stalker warp in. The Warp Prism going to go right on out. Meanwhile, another force field that not perfect. Not perfect. Impressionist force fields out of Hurricane. And he kind of wastes his energy there. Which might give Nice an opportunity to actually pressure some more. Now there are Warp Prisms on both sides. And 23 probes apiece. So we got one probe for... We got full saturation, 22 probes, 16 on minerals, 3 on each gas, and then one probe for flavor. Who knows where that one probe is? That one, oh, looks like he's just mining with it. Hurricane is. Meanwhile, an Immortal, but an Immortal is much, it's going to be more than enough to deal with the Zealot. The Stalkers are handling this. On the other side, Hurricane is dealing with the Diet Proxy, and he will be able to take out the pylon. But nice as the damage is already being dealt here. There are 5 probes on the way. I mean, 5 probes down, not on the way. Meanwhile, another prism comes back. Nobody has enough anti-air to deal with any of this. Shield batteries keeping everything intact here for Hurricane. It's not very clear exactly what's happening down there. The Immortal's still going. And now there are no Stalkers. He's going to hallucinate a Colossus. So that way it looks like, for high ground vision. And also maybe to make it so he doesn't get force fielded. A hallucinated Colossus does not smash force fields. Recalled here. Does he actually believe that was a real Colossus? It could be, is the thing. The high ground vision of the Colossus has more HP than a Phoenix as well. Meanwhile, the observers are chasing each other. The tickle beam, no, he got lazy. No, the observer goes down, and there will be no more observers. Now, here's the ultimate mind game. Captain Protoss prisms on the way. 2 Immortals in a prism. Name a more iconic combo. Oh no, the prism! It's taking so much damage! And, alright, we have another Marvel movie. I hope you guys, you know Iron Man. You know Captain Marvel. But have you seen Captain Protoss? But one Immortal going down for Hurricane. It's very difficult to commentate with recall. Wait, what are all these? Oh, that's a lot of units. And also there's a Stargate now as the tech bush continues to expand. As neither side can really afford a huge amount of tech. There's a Colossus on the way. He built a fake Colossus before. Now it's going to be a real Colossus, which is for smashing force fields and high ground vision. But Colossi can very technically be hit by Phoenixes, though they're not the greatest counter to them. Now he has high ground vision with his Phoenixes. Warp Prism's on the way. Some juggling back and forth. Nice has a significantly higher army supply. Hurricane is losing his gateways, but the Colossus is going to be helpful against the ground units. 2 Immortals to 2 Immortals. There's no force fields. Oh, that was the only force field, but now the counter force fields. They don't really discriminate. He picks up some units, juggles them back. Okay, so that's a real Colossus. Does he believe him this time? It's doing real damage. He's trying to target it down. The Phoenix is going to work. And then the Warp Prism. There's no shield battery energy. He could target the Prism. He's juggling. He could juggle the Colossus back. But Hurricane. So that happened. Meanwhile, Nice has another Robo. He's got the Phoenixes, but Hurricane with a better brute force army, but there's nothing to protect the Prism. The Stalkers won't kill it, and he can kill the Colossus potentially with the Phoenixes. The Colossus has barely any HP, so it's going to be vulnerable. It has to be escorted across the map. But if Nice decided to dive on it, he could probably kill it, but there's not really that many units here. He's got a single Immortal. He's building a second one. I got the ragtag band of Protoss tech here. Warp Prism, Phoenixes, a few Stalkers, Immortals in the mix. The Nexus is actually finishing, but will Nice ever be able to really mine from it? The Phoenixes will kill the Colossus, right? He's trying to buy some time. He targets down 1 Phoenix. The army supply is still in favor of Hurricane. There's nothing in production. Is there a Warp Prism out? There's another Warp Prism. He shades the Adepts into the main. He might let them complete. No, he doesn't go for it. Lifts an Immortal. Will he be able to knock it right back down? No! The Stalkers say release him! And now another. He's warping in and juggling. The Immortals staying intact. There are 2 Immortals against us. Oh, the Warp Prism goes down, but Nice is all... No units! No units! He's using the... Oh, he has a Prism! The Immortal has 1 HP and 0 fucks! How is he not dead yet? The juggle without the Prism, then the Immortal... most of these units have projectiles, so they can be dodged, but the Immortals cannot. He's juggling what he has left. He has barely anything back into the shield battery. Nice loses the Nexus. He was never meant to have it in the first place. There's 3 units left. He retreats to the high ground. He's down to a Phoenix and 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism. A Sentry and an Adept will be warped in, but he targets the Sentry. It's juggled back. Beautiful force field from Nice. Oh my god. Insane micro. That was perfect. But is it enough? He could kill that Immortal. Why won't you die? Why won't you die? Another Immortal comes out. He could target it down. There has to be another Prism on the way. There's no air unit. He recalls the... How is neither player dead? They should both... None of them should be alive. What is happening? Only 1 Immortal from each side has been lost this... The fact that Nice didn't die, he used that Prism for more than it's worth. But at the same time, Hurricane able to keep his Immortals alive and his dreams intact. And now he will be the one to expand as we hit the skyrocket up to the 21 probe count. There's a whole bunch of Sentries in here, but that's a lot of Adepts. The Adepts could just dive on top. The Phoenix, oh, he didn't use the Shade! There's still juggle potential from both sides. The Tickle, the Danger Bubbles doing their absolute best. Nice's army is not as nice as Hurricane's, but the energy is draining. Does he have another Guardian Shield? The Guardian Shield helping out a lot against those. Oh, there's a Disruptor! Nice will have to retreat. Uh-oh, the Prism! The Prism has done everything! But he just... he intercepts the Prism. Now there's a Robobay out of Nice. We're really stretching the limits of how much tech you can get on one base. We're 12 minutes in. The main bases are mining out. Hurricane has an expansion. A Nice shades a few Adepts into it. Meanwhile, there are some Immortals in the main as well. A Disruptor just came out, but probes are dying. So even though he has an expansion, he might not have the economy as time goes on. He kills another probe, murdering probes individually. Will work his way past. There's still an Adept. It's killing. It's kill. He's got the Prisms. He's got it. Oh my god. Nice survives. There are 4 Stalkers in that Prism, but they can't actually hit because Hurricane doesn't have a Stargate. Nice doesn't have an expansion. The Observer is driven away by a Sentry. The Stalkers could kill the Prism, but at the same time, the Immortals kill the Stalkers. They're pretty good at that. Oh my god! It's Cirque du Soleil with the juggling over here, but the prize for failure is death. Nice is once again keeping himself in this game with like ridiculous Prism Micro. Just there's 1 Disruptor. Oh god, 1 shot, 1 win potentially. The Disruptor pops out. Can he target it? No! It's a disaster. There's 1 return shot. He's on the Immortals. He hits 1. It's Nice loses almost everything. But there's still 2 Immortals in the Prism. And a Disruptor. Wait, now they're on the wrong side of history. That there's one, the Disruptor fires at the other Disruptor, but the Immortals kill it. He's at the back. The Immortal targets the Ruptor. He gets it, and with it, the game. Hurricane takes a relatively low key. Game number 1. In Wings of Liberty, Protoss versus Protoss was 4 gate and 1 base, and just general cheese. In Heart of the Swarm, people started to learn how to play a macro game. It was Colossus balls. It was essentially just building up the death ball and then seeing whose laser beams hit better. In Legacy of the Void, we learned, Neeb taught us we could macro in Protoss versus Protoss, and Disruptors were dangerous, but they weren't the death of you early on. And then, After a few years, we unlearned everything we learned and relearned how to one base. The economy's low, the heart rate's high, the IQ's somewhere between 20 and 200. As that happened. What do you want from me? The thing is, I feel the Diet Proxy was actually really good. Nice's Micro, I think, was a little better than Hurricane's, but he was also one step behind in tech since he got scouted early. I don't know. Okay, so that match demonstrated a standard Protoss versus Protoss macro build. We'll have to see what Game 2 has in store. One probe will chase the other probe and tell it it's not. We don't like your kind around here. Here we have the classic skins, okay? You and your fancy Golden Age skins can go back to your side of the map. It's going to be a Stalker Sentry opener from Hurricane. This is the I want to get an expansion and just macro it out. Oh, now 2 probes. You will not block this path. The reason we wall off in Protoss versus Protoss is because Adepts are very dangerous units. You replace it with a shield battery or pylon temporarily to stop those shades from coming in. A Stalker, and the fact there isn't a second Stalker implies a Sentry. So now, well, Hurricane's going to try to expand, but Nice is the one to get a Nexus first. It is a little cheaper to get Adepts than it is to get Stalker. He just jumps on the Stalker. 2 Adepts beat 1 Stalker. This is kind of awkward. He's going to shade away. Do real damage to the Stalker. A second Stalker shows up to the party. A hallucinated Phoenix is coming across. It's starting to get a little messy. As Nice as I don't believe his Adepts were scouted here. So, the Adepts can potentially, well, if they get into the main, that's devastating, but he's going up to 6 Adepts before Warp Gate. Hurricane is proxying a gateway. The Adepts will be stomped at the door. A robotics facility out of Nice. So far, only limited aggression. The Adepts, no, they do not counter more Stalkers. But he keeps building Adepts. Nice is just building a whole lot of Adepts. That's going to be at this point, you're starting to suspect Stargate, even though he scouted a Robo. Like, who builds 8 Adepts? Like, what are you doing? He doesn't have glaives. He's just throwing shade. And he just lets him go! What is going on? He's not even microing! He just shades past the ball. He's getting in! I'm getting in one way or the other! You can't stop me! So the Adepts just get into the mineral line, but, like, at what cost? He kills 4 probes. I don't know if it was worth all of that. He was very adamant about those Adepts getting in the base. No matter the cost. So Hurricane does lose probes. But also Hurricane has a much larger army supply. There are going to be Immortals. Very importantly, there's not going to be a Prism or Immortals for Hurricane. There's the Sentries and the Shield Batteries are going to be very helpful, but like 3 Shield Batteries are a lot of Shield Batteries. The Immortal, like, there's a demilitarized zone here, a no man's land. 1 century, oh baby! Just partying in between those force fields, the ride of his life. Oh, the great force fields from Nice. Shaves off a couple, oh wait! Oh, he just slips right past that one. The shield batteries still have plenty of energy here. It feels like Hurricane is kind of overstaying his welcome. Oh, look who's back! A War Prism, but here we go again! Adepts are gonna shade past! The batteries still have energy! Incredible juggling! But Adepts are also in the main! The probes will be pulled, which is kind of a questionable decision. Adepts are all over the place. Not the greatest micro from Hurricane here. He maybe had an opportunity to do more than that, but Hurricane is now up by 6 workers. The thing is, he doesn't have any Immortals, and his opponent has 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism. Dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 da. 2 Immortal. Oh! Oh, that force field was pretty late on the draw there, Hurricane. Oh, that's a lot of shield batteries. But, wait, that's one way. He's going to have 2 shield batteries going to 3. Nice now has more army supply, and he has a prism. Hurricane is going for +1 attack. Here come the probes! Oh, the Adepts are in the main! How did this happen? The probes, oh, but the Immortal is taken out. I don't even know where the prism went. More Stalkers. The shield batteries are out of energy. Probes being slaughtered. The prism shows up to the party. Nice is way ahead on supply. Oh, another Immortal shows up. It's not over yet. Or is it? 18 probes die. He's doing damage on the other side. The Adepts, I think, were pulled. I mean, the Adepts were. The probes were pulled away. There was a lot going on. There's still 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism, which is a key factor in winning almost every game of Protoss versus Protoss we've seen so far. 4 Stalkers and Immortal against 2 Immortals, 2 Stalkers, and a Prism. I'll take the Prism in that every time. Adept Glaives on the way for both sides. Another Stalker blast. Wait. Who? Yeah, that was Hurricane Stalker. Yeah, Hurricane is in a terrible spot. He's going to have +1. He's going to have Glaives. He actually built, didn't he build a few more gates? He's on 7 gates. Yeah, he built, wait, where did he, oh, yeah, this is, but why? he walled off his natural with the Glaives. He's now building a Dark Shrine because, I mean, you're kind of low on options here. Oh, here come the Immortals again. Yeah, Hurricane, unfortunately not on top of his Adept Micro on the other side. If he was able to do significantly more probe damage, then maybe we wouldn't be here, but he didn't, and now Nice is doubling his supply. And Dark Templar have to be on the mind in this scenario. Like, you don't know exactly how many probes you killed, but you killed a lot of probes. He's going to target the shield battery. Their cannons. Oh, surprise! Throwing mad shade all over everything. There's an observer with this. He warps into DTs on the other side, but he's going to be dead on their arrival. GG. Nice. Game 3 coming up. Another long-winded macro game. Two Immortals and a War Prism. Keep those things in mind as we go to Game 3. So, Honestly, Protoss versus Protoss nowadays feels kind of like the ZVZs of old. We've kind of progressed past that to an extent, where you just go Ling main, sometimes in creative ways, and you see if the other person screws it up. Nowadays, Zergs actually have found ways to stabilize, whereas Protoss, it's the other way around. Protoss units are just so powerful individually that if you have even a handful less Protoss units, you're going to struggle. Especially if those Protoss units can't fly and teleport from a distance while also reinforcing. I don't know. Well, you might be able to tell what unit I'm speaking of. Meanwhile, wait, are they both building their second pylon? And then, well, we're going to find out. The probes? Not even a look. Not even a high five or fist bump on the way across the map. This is serious. Game 3. Loser is eliminated. Both players will build their second pylon in their main. Two adepts out of nice. He's maintained his stance as the slightly more aggressive player. Between the ridiculous... Remember, he sent 8 adepts into the base in that last game. Oh my god, he didn't actually keep the... He misclicked the pylon. Wait, is that Nice's pylon? Oh. Nice with a beautiful, perfect pylon placement. I'm a G. All pylons look alike to me. It's okay. Some of my best friends are Protoss. Don't worry. The adepts will hunt down and murder the probe. Oh, Nice is back! He came back! Another pylon! That probe! Is there... And he gets in and sees the Stargate! What a flair! It doesn't wall it out, but like... Beautiful... Nice with the tactical probe scout. Beautifully done. And then the adepts will shade. Is there a is there a probe in position? Ooh, that was close. More adepts on the way as Nice just keeps sending them. They're just 4 to he's like he is reckless. He's reckless. This man shouldn't be allowed to own adepts. Oh my god, he's gonna go through it. He goes through it. The pylon or battery, I'm not sure what it was, but the adepts and the stalkers tripping over each other to stop this from happening. There's an oracle on the way, but it's not yet delivered. And all the adepts will escape. He only loses 3 probes. And then, no! He didn't have the minerals because his probes weren't mining. It's a disaster. And yes, even though he has the oracle, he's going to lose so many more probes. 8 probes and the oracle energy. Oh no, Hurricane. Hurricane. In a devastating spot. Oh, his Stargate has to get so much done. And Nice has an expansion. What is this? Now we'll see if he has the shield batteries. There's enough energy to potentially kill some probes. He needs to kill some probes. He's going to chase it with a hallucinated Phoenix. Doesn't matter if it's not real. It keeps track of the Oracle. Hurricane now, I mean, he has an expansion. He's starting to catch up. And because he's up against Stargate, Nice has to play defense now for a while. Once the Adepts are finally exhausted, and by exhausted I mean dead. Are those hallucinated stalkers? Okay, that's a choice. I think that was to try to bait the, well, try to cover where, at least pretend he had defense where he didn't. But yeah, up against Stargate, you don't have, what is, Hurricane misclicked a hallucinated Phoenix. Every Protoss who's tried has done this before. Every Protoss has done this before. So the hotkeys to hallucinate a Phoenix are C and then X. Now everybody look down at your keyboards. And then to hallucinate a Colossus, it is C and then C. So he fat-fingered it. Oh, more hallucinated Phoenix. If he tries hard enough or gets anti-armor missile somehow on those oracles, those hallucinations will kill them. That's actually true. How would he do that in a 1v1? I'm not sure, but thank you, Florencio, for bringing that to everyone's attention. Hurricane has really leveraged these oracles well. He hasn't, like, he's a constant threat. Nice did commit to a lot of adepts early, and he did go for the Robotech, which means now, despite doing significant damage to Hurricane, Hurricane has had enough time and space to catch up somewhat. He's still behind. Nice is way ahead on the upgrades, but the Oracles have kept him at bay, and Hurricane is caught up in the probe count. There is a deadly time. +2 attack is a big upgrade. It's a big one. That is a Templar Archives finishing up. Archons are scary and effective units against every race, including Protoss. Hurricane's going Blinkstalker Disruptor. He knows he's behind. He's never going to be able to match the upgrades or the unit count. If he goes Colossus, I'll have no idea what's happening in this matchup anymore. Oh, the stasis board actually hits things. So after Hurricane gets on supply block, and there we go, 2 Immortals in a Warp Prism. It's a Disruptor. Blinkstalker Disruptor. The Neeb composition. No longer nearly as popular. Mostly because we don't even get to this stage of the game, but also because Immortal Archon, like, all you have to do is win one fight. The Disruptors don't quite get it done. This is a lot warped in here. Charge isn't done yet. It's 5 seconds off, which is a little... The probes are transferring back. You gotta watch out. He's actually just blasting through the sentries. He spots a Ruptor. He gets both. Wait, those were Archons the whole time. There was never any Immortals. That blink, blink, blink is not done. Meanwhile, the Oracles come in, and will be oh, double feedback! And the Oracles come in requesting, like, how do you think I look today? The Thai Templars say, well, I hate to give you bad feedback, but not a big fan. Quite a revelation for the Oracles. Moving on, Immortals and Archons up against Disruptors, Blinkstalkers, and a handful of Immortals. Nice has a bigger army, but the damage potential of Ruptors is there. How many Ruptors? Just the one. He's got one big shot. He's got to land it. It hit one Stalker. That's not enough. The Archons are just blasting through here. Another Disruptor! Oh, that's a much bigger shot, but is it big enough? An important question. There's still 4 Archons. The Blinkstalkers are okay to micro against this, but there's damage being dealt. Hurricane hasn't lost that many probes. The Oracles are back! There's limited anti-air. He kills the Oracles. The Warp Prism went down at some point. Another Archon splits the Stalkers well. The Archon, they're struggling. They're held back by how bulky they are. The Charge Lots kill a Disruptor, though. What? Oh, okay. Oh, he recalls the last Archon survivor. Hurricane will hold. 69 supply, but not as good as Nice. At 83 and 47 probes in the third base. The thing is, Blinkstalkers. Blinkstalkers are okay. If you get enough of them, you can just chip and chip and chip away. But does he have enough? The Archons, they take several volleys to take down. And if those units close the distance, then the damage will be dealt. It's +2 against +1 in favor of Nice. The Stalker count is still only 10. Dark Shrines for both sides. This is obviously the Dark Shrine timing. They both agree. There's nothing to effectively close the distance with the Stalkers. The charge lots will get there eventually, but they'll lose some in the process. So the Dark Templar, more of a desperation move for Hurricane for sure. Nice, it just seems like a good option to still use his map control and army value and try to draw him out of position and then do damage with the DTs. There are now 3 Ruptors on the field. It takes 2 Ruptor shots to kill an Archon from full HP. I'll blink for both sides. The counter blink. Wait, Nice now has more Blink Stalkers. You got to be careful with those cooldowns on both sides. Oh, the bait! The bait! Clips 3 Stalkers there. Nice Disruptor hit. You got to be very careful. Dark Templar being warped in by both sides. Hurricane has found... He's even proxying a gate for a Super Pylon here. It's gonna get messy! Hold on to your warp gates. Hold on to your probes. As both these players are now in a dangerous... Well... It's... kills the Prism from the back. Blinks over the top. Target fires there. 1, 2. Doesn't find the third. Another fadeaway shot. It's huge. It's massive. But it's not big enough. The army goes down, but the DTs are in the base. He's lost 12 probes. There's no detection. So the real damage is being dealt. All 3 bases hit by the Dark Templar, whereas Hurricane will counter the DTs himself. There's no detection. He's losing so many probes. He finally kills one of the DTs. There's a DT in the third. 45 to 34 probes. The real innocent bystanders in all this. Oh, no. 20 probes. Wait, he didn't kill the first DT. He moved the Observer. Every probe at the third. There's going to be plenty of time. How many Disruptors are left over? 0. He actually killed all the Disruptors in that exchange. But suddenly, the economies are flipped on their head. In a low economy game, Disruptors are so incredibly valuable. Before, they were risky because Nice had the economy, and he could just replace his units. Now, each Disruptor hit is potentially game-winning. The upgrade's still +2 to +1. Hurricane is catching up. Nice has to go for it. But the Disruptors pose such a threat, and the DTs are making things very difficult. He's almost all in. He hasn't been able to get a Warp Prism anywhere close. Now charge lots also are concerning, because charge lots can close the distance. Oh, a DT is slipping by. I think he spotted a Disruptor shot. Fade away into the Blink Stalkers! He had 1 shot, and he made it count. But is it enough? The charge lots and the Archons so scary. Another Disruptor! I'm not sure whose units. He blinked out of it at the last second. Nice is dipping in supply, but some of that's workers. He doesn't have Disrupt. A lot of probes are dying. The Blink Stalkers are still very valuable. He's killing a lot of probes. But is it enough? The Disruptor's stuck. He kills another Ruptor. He's warping in charge lots behind. He's down to 1 Archon. No, he kills the Observer, but all their DTs to save the day. Nice is holding. The charge isn't done yet for Hurricane. More Stalkers. He blinks forward, but into more Stalkers of Hurricane. There's no Archons. There's nothing Templar related. +2 against +1. More Stalkers. Nice turns it around. He blinks forward, but more Warp Hits. Blinks to the back. He's chasing it down. Going for the heart of the Protoss here. Hurricane maintains 2 more probes. He finishes +2 and charge. A DT comes home. I think select all army hotkey. Observer goes down. There's no detection. I lied. There's an Observer right there. There's more Stalkers. But the Observers are actually very precious as well. He's got whoever targets the other's Observer, he goes, oh my god, Nice. He made the mistake you cannot make. The Observer died. There's no detection. There's nothing left. That 1 Dark Templar wards away all of Nice's units. Oh, and he snipes a Stalker. Nice is coming in again. Dark Templar goes to the other side. I'm not sure Nice realizes the DT went to the other side. Probes have been slaughtered. It's not like they're a particular... We gotta go to the unit count more than anything. A DT onto the third. Nice, I'm sure, has brought some more in the way of Observers to the front. The Stalker count is 13 to 10, and 2 Archons to really absorb that damage. Hurricane doing so well. DTs could be warped in. There's not that much money for either side. 69 supply for nice. More charge slots coming in. Immortals? No, wait, no Immortals. That's the one thing he doesn't have is Immortals. The DT's killing the 3rd. And an Archon is targeted. If he gets the pylon, there are no more warp-ins. Another observer comes up. It could be targeted down. The probes are pulled. So many probes are dying in the making. Oh, he kills the observer. Blinks away with the counter blink and the charge on the chase. Was that too much? Hurricane trying to turn it around, but there's nothing. He kills the 3rd base. They're both trying to target fire. The charge lots go down. Remember, both sides do have DTs. Another Archon shows up to the party, but are there enough Stalkers left over? The Archon's doing so much damage. The Stalker count is too low. He's trying to micro it out. Good micro. Blinking back. He can technically dodge some shots. Reinforcements coming in. Oh, so many badly bruised Stalkers. 1 charge lot comes in, trying to save the day. The day not saved. Another Archon. Blink back. There's only so many mineral patches. The mains are dried up. Oh, he kills a Dark Templar. That Archon soaks so many shots. He blinks forward with these Stalkers. That's so goddamn risky. And now we see why. Losing more Stalkers. He can out-micro with... Oh, there's even more Stalkers for Hurricane. He's relying on the blink micro, and it's very reliable at this stage. With such a small amount of units left over. There's an Archon. Oh, he gets the Observer. But there's no Dark Templar to save the day. The Archon left all alone. And will die. Along with Nice. Hurricane blinks one last time. Two to 1 Hurricane. I hope you enjoyed that experience. Thank you for experiencing it with me. Thank you to Intel Extreme Masters and ESL, of course, for putting on IEM Katowice. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe and comment on how Protoss versus Protoss is the most beautiful / disgusting thing you've ever seen. Ring all of the bells. Kappa's in the chat. Complaints about Zerg. Good luck and have fun.